Hi, my name is Sharon Bridgeforth, and I'm here to offer my 2 cents. Today I'm standing in the Wilson Room at New Dramatists up in Seventh Heaven. New Dramatists is an organization that radically supports playwrights. I've been a member for 7 years. This is my final year, my final actual day as a member in the building. And whenever I come to town, I stay. We call it Seventh Heaven. There's some rooms upstairs in the building, and I always stay in the Wilson room, my favorite. But anyway, I'm here to offer my 2 cents in response to a question that I received regarding this past Sunday's weekly Dat Black Mermaid Man Lady Oracle reading. So there's a link below. You can click on that and check out the reading. And basically, I was really feeling and responding in my body and spirit and heart to the horrific events that happened in Orlando last weekend. And the cards reflected that. The card that most people responded to in email exchanges and posts and messages that I received was the very first card, and it was David, who speaks about purpose. And what David said was, tell the truth. And essentially, in this card, David said, it's your treasures that you're supposed to circulate, not your rage. And so the question that I was asked is, how do we transform our rage, especially in these times? What I suggested with the card was that, in the reading, was that it gives us an opportunity to root ourselves in love and act and facilitate change and be in community from a place of love as opposed to a place of rage. And so the question was, how do we do that? I don't know that I have answers for that. I feel that it is very complex. Our rage is righteous. It is based on real experiences that happen daily, that happen to us in many different ways all over the world, all over our bodies. And so I honor our rage, but I do think that our rage can be poisonous. It can be toxic in our own bodies. I have, been challenged by that myself, which for me led to drinking, checking out, and I think too, it facilitated the cancer that I had in 2005. So how do we transform our rage? And I think we also, the other piece of it that David was speaking on is offering our treasures. And also, David said, what we give circles back to us. That's the other piece of it. So I think that the rage can be instructive. It can be an opportunity to ignite healing and to activate us as divine activists for change. I think that those actions can happen moment to moment in our lives. It can be as simple as offering a smile. It can be as simple as letting go of old stories in our own heads and bodies. It can be as complex as working in community to invoke systemic change. What I want to focus on today are some of the examples that we have historically to lean into, that great leaders, that awesome individuals have offered us throughout history. Before I get to that, I think it's important to say the other things that David in this That Black Mermaid Man Lady Oracle deck speaks on. One of the things that David talks about is dancing. And essentially, in that particular card, David offers the clave rhythm. So, ta, 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 ta. I wonder if perhaps our rage needs to be danced out. I think queer people especially, sometimes that's why we go to the club, honey, to line up, to sweat it out, to root in our root chakra in community. Um, and God bless us when those clubs are not safe for us. You know, when the streets getting there are not safe, when home is where we return is not safe. But dancing, historically, I think particularly for people of color, particularly for people of earth-based practices, have been a way to activate transformation and to open portals for divine change. So it moves us beyond our intellect and offers a way for spirit, for light, for joy to transmit through our cells. David also speaks about alchemy, and in the context and the world of this deck and the stories that they come from, David helped Honeypot, one of the community members that activates change, who also came up in the reading twice. David is the only one that Honeypot can hear speak about releasing her rage and forgiving. And so with David's help, alchemy happens in Honeypot's spirit and body. She becomes actually more powerful, and the whole community is there as witnesses and support. They hold her and they help David as that transformation happens. And again, you know, I think that we have a lot of traditions, we have a lot of cultural practices, we have a lot of examples of how we might do that, of people that have done that, that have opened space for collective shifts through the seeing, the witnessing, the naming, and the helping to release, and then the actions created for change. I think of, you know, and so thinking of our treasures, and particularly as artists, a lot of times, you know, hopefully we're able to give voice, give vision, give picture, give space for transformative reflections of what is most highly possible, even in the face of devastation and heartbreak and suffering. And so I think about the old spirituals. I think they articulated that with that sound, and through their spirits and their bodies and their bones. And I think that's what we receive. I think that's why sometimes the spirit comes down, you know? That's why we cry sometimes when we hear those old songs. I think it's in the blues. I think it's in jazz. I think it's just filtered through all, particularly with African American music, that ability to get in there and be with the rage and the frustration and the suffering and make it something else. So then it offers witnessing and holding and opening for those that receive it. James Baldwin, the last kind of thing I'll say, to me is the greatest example of that. Because baby, I think James was one with his rage, but he didn't rest in it. He moved from a place of love and deep action. And so I guess I just invite us to look at examples of people around the world from all cultures and traditions that have activated transformation, that have articulated and moved and shifted rage and rooted it in love, and therefore made space for hope and possibility and newness and a greater world for those coming. So I think also sometimes we need professional help. Sometimes we need, you know, therapy. Sometimes, like myself, I had to stop drinking. You know, sometimes you need more than you can access alone or even in your immediate circles. So take care, give yourself what you need, look for inspiration from those that have already given it all over the world. They're great examples for that. And know that you're loved. All right. See you soon.